Hi guys, and welcome back to Project 40. A slightly unexpected video today because when I was doing the O2 sensor earlier on in the week, I noticed that the cover for the gearbox was still leaking oil, even though I'd cleaned it up when I did the first service a couple of weeks back. And what I actually think is basically the gasket seal has started to go, so oil is leaking out. The problem is that at the moment I can't find a quick and easy replacement for that gasket. So what I'm going to do, we've got the long trip down to Festival Italia. Obviously I don't know how much oil is leaked out of the gearbox. So instead of fixing the real problem, I'm going to cover it up by doing a quick gearbox oil change on the Punto, and that's going to fix the problem temporarily, because then at least I will know there is 1.6 litres of gearbox oil at the start of the trip. And hopefully whatever's leaking out, that kind of covers me for at least the trip tomorrow. And then next week I can do some more research and figure out where I can find this gearbox gasket. I can find lots of the individual like hard seals for when it actually connects to like the bell housing and all that sort of stuff. This is on the opposite side, so it should just be a gasket, and maybe I just take it off, clean it up, and then use like RTV sealant to seal it. I don't know what the best option is, but what I do know is I don't know the solution right now. So the best solution is to get some temporary gear oil. So this is just some Castrol 75 watt 90, which isn't exact fit, but it's roughly close. And because it's only going to be in the gearbox for a short time, you know, I'd like to get something better, maybe some Valvoline or something like that. But I'll save that for when I do the proper gearbox oil change. This is just a temporary thing. So the next plan is to get this car onto the ramps and get this oil changed. So you can see here, this is the problem, in that there's definitely some form of oil leak, seepage from somewhere on this cover here. It doesn't seem to be down here, so it doesn't seem to be this main gasket here. It seems to be leaking from this one here. So, and there's definitely a gasket there. So it's just a question of figuring out where it's compromised. But that's a future problem. At the moment, I think it's just best to get the oil out. So we've got one hex nut here that we need to undo, and I think it's this one, or it might be this one. I need to do some research to see which one it is, but I think it's this one. So then do this one first, then drain out the oil from this one, and then put in 1.6 litres, and job. I've not really done a gearbox oil change before, normally because you have to, you know, get things up to temperature and get into certain gears, and you have to flush it out, all this sort of stuff. So they're quite complicated, but at least on the Punto, it seems to be, fingers crossed, seems to be a quite a simple affair. So that's what I'm hoping it is. Yes, it is risky doing this the day before we're supposed to drive, but you know, that's where the excitement comes from, or the crushing depression and utter failure. We'll find out which is which. Fingers crossed, eh? Alright, so let's open up the drain plug. Hopefully I can get it. Let's get the air filter out of the way. Alright. Oh, Jesus. I might have to get a breaker onto that. That is done. Ugh. Why do people over-tighten things? Like, what is the point? Feels like every bolt on this car is done up with an impact wrench. Oh, gearbox oil. Definitely has a rich aroma to it. Ugh, that is gross. Shout out to Quattro Joe. He's done a great video on this, so I'm kind of just following his instructions. Been really kind of useful just to see another sort of HGT owner go through this process. Makes it hopefully a lot less. So next up is our fill one. Is that the right socket? Hey. Right. Oh my word. Safety first, because this oil absolutely hums. I wonder what colour it's going to be. What do we guess? Because I doubt it's ever been changed. Oh. Ugh. Oh. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm going to let that do its thing whilst I go get a cup of tea. Oh. Oh, that stuff stinks. All right, let's give this a bit of a clean up. I assume we're still recording. Yeah. Yeah, we can still see. Okay, cool. All right. So, like I said, this is not going to be a full proper change. We don't have time for that. This stuff does absolutely hum though. So at least it had oil in it, which I wasn't entirely sure on, to be honest, because it's been leaking for quite some time clearly. And again, I know I beat this drum, but it's not been well serviced in its previous life. So, and there's a lot of crud that I had cleaned off. So clearly, what I might do is have a go at tightening some of these and just make sure they're tight, because maybe it's just they're a bit loose, like maybe this one or something. That's probably worth a shout. Thread some oil on this, just so it goes in nicely. And then it should be a case of just doing this back up, and I believe it needs to be $18. Where's my adapter gone? Cool. That's done. So now it's just a case of filling her up. This is the natty little pump system, but I think it's actually quite good for this setup. So I'm just going to need to put in the final bits. So that's 1.25 in. We leaking yet? Can't bloody see. Don't knock over the oil on the driveway. That would be particularly bad. Don't think my wife would be happy with me if I did that. Alright, so we should be getting close. Alright. It's definitely starting to pour out. Cool, alright, I think we're done. No hold for now, whilst I just empty the excess. Right, and then, oh man. Right, we don't want to drop this in the used oil. We do not want to drop this into the used oil. I cleaned up the threads off camera as well because it just made sense. I just need to figure out how to get this on in a way that doesn't completely foul on the stupidly large air filter cover box housing. Well, that was easy. I think it was a good job because that oil was definitely, I think, original. Obviously it hasn't fixed the underlying problem, but at least I know at the start when we drive tomorrow there's roughly sort of 1.6 litres in there, and I'll probably take all this stuff with me just in case if I need to top it up. So I think for now I'll probably take it for a quick spin down the road. I don't have time to record at the moment because I'm on a fixed schedule at the moment because this is unplanned car maintenance, but yeah, I'll take it down the road and see how it feels and see if it leaks or anything like that, and then yeah, then hopefully we'll be all in good shape for tomorrow. If you've watched this long, thank you so much for watching. I hope you do consider liking and subscribing, and if I do see you tomorrow at Festival Italia, I'm looking forward to the conversation. Catch you down the road.